Oh, that sounds better.
You hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Alright.
Huh?
Alright. What's going on?
Well, now it's not recording. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying.
Digging in the crates for something good. Hidden gems often misunderstood. 'Cause you know there's no such thing as too much. Miscellaneous important stuff.
Welcome back to the show. This week, I called my dad in the Philippines, and it was a little bit of a hassle to set up. I've been having trouble with these phone call recordings, so I'm doing my best to figure it out. But my dad moved to the Philippines, I guess, about 5 years ago now. My parents are divorced, and he married a woman in the Philippines, and he used to go back and forth, but now he lives there full time. So I don't see him a lot. I have visited him once there, and he comes here every now and then. So it's difficult. It's definitely difficult to stay close and to stay in touch and to keep him updated and for him to keep me updated on life. But I like a good challenge, I guess. And I just thought it was a good time for my dad to be on the podcast. I don't think he's heard a lot about it. I don't know if he knows a lot about podcasting, but that's probably better for me. Sometimes I wonder if I want my family to listen. But it's okay if they do, because I love them and I don't think I'm doing anything crazy here. So anyway, we talked about a lot of different stuff. My dad's an interesting guy. He's fun to have a conversation with. So if you like aliens, listen to the whole thing or just skip to the end, because we do get into that. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. Here it is. So how's it going?
Well, can't complain. Retired life.
I mean, you could complain.
Yeah, sometimes I do because I get bored. But I figure I always find out something to do.
Yeah, but are you, like, what hobbies have you got into, or have you yet?
Same thing I've always done. I just like to fix things. I like to analyze things, I'm always working around the house. Other things that I'd like to do, but I don't have the tools to do it. I'd like to try woodworking or lathe kind of stuff, but I keep debating on it. But my space in the garage, I just don't feel like there's enough for doing something like that. But I really like to do it.
I mean, well,
one project
are you just not able to get the tools over there?
I can get the tools, but it's the space.
I thought you had more space now. You just built, 3 or 4 floors on your house.
No, I didn't build 3 or 4 floors. I wish I had the house next door they just built. One day, I don't know, just a thought, I got another piece of property down the street here, 150 meters, that I'd like to build a house there, 2 or 3 stories, and the bottom part of the house will be my garage. The whole bottom of the house will be just a garage.
Are you planning on that?
But I don't know if I'll ever do it or not. Maybe, it just depends. When I start drawing Social Security, maybe, but right now, no.
Well,
that's an option, but then I also think, how long am I going to want to do that kind of stuff? I want to stay busy. That's my main thing.
Well,
And of course, you know I've always liked to work with my hands and do things like that.
yeah. But what if you're not able to do that? What's going to fill that space?
I like to go out. Like as soon as we're done talking here, we're gonna go out and just go the S&R Club, the Landers, and just hang out there. I like just to go out and walk and spend time with Emily too. Just hang out. I like doing that kind of stuff too. Just to get out of the house. I like doing that. Going out and you walk and you just browse and.
Yeah, but you know what surprises me the most about you is that how you deal with that, because I know you don't like traffic, and I know just from the small amount of time I spent there, I've always just been so confused how you can handle that. I think I'd stay inside all day, every day.
Well, let me tell you something. You made a good point there, and over time I've learned to deal with it because no matter how I spin things, I look at it this way. I'm blessed. I mean, I'm definitely blessed because I have a roof over my head. I got food on the table. I'm able to do things. Many, many, many other people don't get that chance. So just that kind of a frustration that you see every day with traffic. Yes, it gets under my nerves, but I can deal with it a lot more than I used to be able to. And granted, sometimes I get I get downright mad, but I'm a lot more patient.
That's good. I guess that's something you couldn't have anticipated, but it's probably a good result.
Well, Emily commented. She's commented a few times, and I told her on those a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there was a situation where I just plain got upset. I just told her, I said, you see me getting upset right now, but in the past, you wouldn't have wanted to be around me because I was a lot worse. I said, so take this as a good thing.
Wait, when you were there or just in life? Like when you were there?
In life. Yeah, my temper was a lot shorter before. I mean, now I can. My patience is a heck of a lot better.
Wait, over what period of time did your temper change though? Like what are you thinking of a specific moment, temper wise?
No, I think being out here has actually changed my temperament a lot. Calm me down and just take life as it is. That you can't really change the environment here, but you can deal with it and you can try to. Emily's taught me that try to make an excuse for that person, and she's right. I mean, for me, there's no excuse for somebody not being able to get a legal license and just going out and buying one for somebody, which I think a lot of people here do. But then when you see the people that are speeding down the road and going in and out of traffic, granted it's dangerous, but she said make an excuse. Maybe the person in the car is sick or they're going to the hospital or something, which you can do that to a point.
That's true.
Just situations like that, you just never know what the situation is on the other side.
I try to do that because, a lot of times you just run it, not even traffic, you just run into people and you go, man, people are just terrible. Terrible.
Yeah,
like, the things they say, the things they do, but
yeah,
there's usually a reason.
And to her point, that if you jump out of the car and you go over and you start yelling at this person, it could be a very good reason for it, which you're going to embarrass yourself and others, the fact that you exploded instead of just being calm and just trying to figure out what the reason was for it and then going from there. And she's right.
Wait, have you ever jumped out of the car there and yelled at somebody?
No, and she's told me don't ever do that and she's right also, like you just never know. And the fact that I'm a foreigner, that's bad news. So
yeah,
I'm not going to do that. I try to keep my, like I said, I've mellowed my temper out a lot. I'm going to continue to do that.
When do you think your temper was the worst, though? Because now I'm thinking back.
I would think probably when I was in the military.
Because of the military, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a lot of the stress I put up with there.
Like the entire time?
But
Was it just the military in general?
uh, no, I was just basically a high-strung person, type A, and I always wanted to get things done right now, which I still have that personality, but I've learned to slow down a little bit because I always wanted things done. Let's get it done now, and in a hurry, and there's no time to waste here. And I've changed my attitude on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got some of that. I'm sure I got it from you. I get so much anxiety over getting stuff done, and
Yes, and I still have that, but I've learned to, deal with it. Like I've got this air conditioner piping I got to do outside, and I keep on went out there looking at it. What's the best way to do this? Because once I tear it apart, I've got to put it back together again.
yeah,
So
yeah, I feel same.
I've got a lot. Yeah, I've got a certain amount of time for it, so I don't get rushed to do it. And once I go out there, I can just take my time to get it done instead of like I used to. I got to get these 10 tasks done today. Well, I don't need to do that no more because I got time on my hands.
That's true, and that there must be something nice about that.
Hmm.
Like I feel like I have too much to do, and part of that's my own fault because there's things I want to get done, things I want to accomplish, but I sometimes wish that I was just looking for something to do.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times that you got those things to do, I also I'll combine a lot of things and I'll kind of pick at them. Well, I'll get this much done of this today and also this one here today, then I'll continue on and get them all done at one time. But you're just doing a little bit on each one of them.
Do you think it's gonna get harder to? Huh?
Right, the air conditioner thing. Once I take it apart, I got to get it back together again. So I can't wait on that. So
You don't have to, right? Couldn't you just leave it out?
No, it's the piping. I don't want to leave them open. I want to insulate them, so I got to pull the old insulation off. And if you don't put it back on, the efficiency of the air conditioner dramatically changes. In other words, you'll use a lot more electricity because the pipes are out there sweating because it's cold freon going through it. And once you insulate those pipes, the pipes aren't going to work so hard to stay cold because of the heat.
Oh, okay.
So once I take it apart, I gotta get it back together, else I don't use the air conditioner for a few days.
Do you think you're gonna have a harder time finding things to do as you get further into retirement there? I mean, how long have you been living in the Philippines now? What is it? Is it 5 years now? Has it been that long?
I retired the end of 2014, so 4 years, almost 5.
Yeah, wasn't it right after Christmas, or like early 2015?
Yep, Christmas is when I actually retired. It was December 6th or something like that month, 14th. But I was actually done
before that.
September or October. I just had a lot of leave.
Do you ever wish you would have waited? Because didn't you only have a couple more years and you would have got that retirement check? Or was it longer than that?
I could have got my. It would really be a retirement. It's like an annuity. Same thing. It's a retirement. But no, to answer your question, no, I don't wish I would have waited. I'm glad I did it because I was just so frustrated in that job. It was good pay and everything, but when I thought about it, I'm maintaining 2 households, one here, one there, and to retire and come out here with a retirement check, I'm not losing that much more, really, compared to what I was spending before on just taking care of 2 houses.
Yeah. Man, I can understand that. I think most people, if they have an opportunity to get out of a job, you just want to do it. Especially if you've been there long enough and it's sucking your soul out.
Well, and that's the fact is, civil service, government in general. I mean, in the Air Force, I felt a lot more accomplished because you saw results. In civil service, it was like your hands were tied constantly because of money. We'll start this project, but all the funding's not there anymore, so you think about all the stuff that you've already done. You've wasted all that money. Now we're not going to do this. Let's start this different project, which was very frustrating knowing you're doing that, wasting your time, plus wasting your money, your tax-paying money on things that you should have never got started in the first place.
Isn't that a lot of government, though? I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. Just politics in general. It almost doesn't matter who's in what position. It just always feels like nothing's really getting done, or not enough is getting done. You know what I mean?
You feel that way. Yep.
I'm sure things are getting done, but like no matter who's in office, it just feels like nothing. It just you're just sitting there watching and waiting.
Well, for me, it was these simple things that you think it would be simple to approve and get done. But you look at it and you look down a year later and you say, we're still talking about this, but we haven't gotten anything done with it.
Yeah.
And it's because of you're working with contractors, you're working with just a lot of different people doing a lot of different things. Now, don't get me wrong. We have a pretty efficient system, probably about as efficient as it can be, but when it comes to the funding and people trying to make money like the vendors, the OEMs, the engine manufacturers and things like that, everybody wants their piece of it, which
Just
slows
too many
things down.
layers.
Exactly, that's exactly right. There's too much government.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change.
Too many people have their hands involved with it. And if you get one person that's not doing their job, that just slows the whole thing down.
I feel like that's also, it's similar to any job where you have like meetings that could have been emails, where you just like talk in circles about things that you should probably just be doing.
Exactly.
Some people just like meetings.
Every time that somebody would walk by my desk and say, oh, by the way, we got a meeting at so-and-so, I just roll my eyes and go, yeah, for what? So we can sit in there and basically get 5 minutes worth of accomplishment while we're sitting in there for 3 hours? And it's usually about what it was, 10% accomplishment.
Yeah, but people feel like they're accomplishing something because they're in a meeting.
Yeah.
They're like, we had meetings today. I was in meetings all day. Ugh, rough day. Sometimes I like meetings because
The reality is a lot of a wasted time.
I know. That's why if I'm having a hard day and I'm struggling with work, I'd rather have a meeting because I know I'm not doing anything in the meeting. It's like a break.
Go and socialize.
Yeah, you just hang out, talk about things, avoid the thing you don't want to do. Huh?
Who's bringing the donuts today?
Yeah, we getting food? Is this a lunch meeting?
I like those kind of meetings.
Huh?
Hey, we're having a team building. We're having a teteam building downtown tomorrow. Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah, those are my favorite. Bonding time.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's dangerous. People bringing in food though. I'll tell you. How much did you just have food in your office all the time? Because I've had that. It seems everywhere I've gone.
Oh,
it's always free food.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Yeah, of course. But that doesn't mean you feel like you're doing anything.
Well, the whole thing now, I can wake up and decide what I want to do. Without having somebody else, to direct me that I got to be at work today.
Yeah, which is nice. That's what I'm working towards, to be on my own schedule, but not waiting till retirement.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you. And for you to do something like that, you can continue on that. If it's something you like to do it your whole life. And you direct and decide what your day is going to be. I'll take a vacation for the next 3 weeks because I want to, or whatever. That's good. That's about the same thing as retirement, really.
Yeah, I just think more people should work towards that. Some people can't probably, or they don't want to, but a lot of people want that, and I think they just don't work towards it.
Well, for me, I knew when I retired and resigned from the civil service job that I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do, but I knew I could retire and be my own boss, and I'd like to have that extra money to go out and do cruises or all that kind of stuff anytime I wanted to do it. But right now I don't have that, but in the future maybe.
You also liked your career, right? Like you weren't
Yes.
looking to get out at any point where you're like, I should be doing something else. You liked being in the Air Force, right?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I enjoyed it.
I'm sure it had its challenges, but you felt good about that path.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other job. It's not always going to be good. You're not always going to work for the bosses you want to work for. Your days aren't always going to be perfect. But what I was doing was something I enjoyed doing, and working around aircraft and engines. That's what mechanical. That's what I've always enjoyed doing anyway. Now, the management and leadership part about it, that was frustrating. The hands-on turning the engines and stuff, I really like that.
Yeah, isn't that weird how you get more experience and then you stop doing the thing that you started the career for? You may get into a career because you like engines, but you retire and you're not doing that anymore.
Exactly. Well, I am. I'm still. I consider myself a jack of all trades, a master of none, because I can do just about anything as long as I have directions on how to do it.
No, I mean career-wise. I know that you still know how to do that. I just mean when you get into any career where you're like, this is what I liked, and the further along you get in that, they don't let you do it anymore because you got to manage people who do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Case in point, when I made Master Sergeant, and that was when I left Grissom Air Force Base, I pretty much knew my toolbox was going to be a thing of the past for the most part. I mean, I could still do it if I wanted to, go out there and help the guys if I wasn't busy, but for the most part, my hands-on turning the wrenches was over with. Was
that sad? Or was it like mixed feelings?
It was mixed feelings. It was sad to a point, but I enjoyed the challenge of I was the one that called the shots now in my area. I had a lot of different areas I called the shots in. Of course, you always work for somebody else, but they always left me alone because they knew that the job was going to get done.
That's always a nice feeling.
So, it is. And you always get some bosses that don't even know what they're doing, and they try to put their fingers in what you're doing, and then that's when I never had a problem with telling you, hey, is this my job? And I would tell them and let me do it. If I'm not doing my job, then let me know. But don't be over here telling my people what to do while I'm here. These are my people.
Yeah, everyone wants a little bit of power.
Yeah, but they respected that, though, because I never was afraid to tell them what I thought.
I think it's important. Instead of just holding it in is not good either.
Well, the big thing is, you got to respect your boss, and if they tell you this is what they want you to do, and then you can respectfully disagree with what they're telling you, then once they say, well, I understand you're disagreeing, but this is what we're going to do. Yes, sir, boss, you're the boss. And you press on with pride. Unless it's something to do with safety or something that you know is going to injure somebody, then you say, fire me, I ain't doing it.
Did you ever have to do that?
No. I mean, I've had to do it to the point where I told them, well, I understand you're telling me to do this, but this is why I'm saying it's not a good idea. Normally I would get my way.
Well, and the weird thing about the military, too, is that it's not easy to get fired, right? I mean, you really got to mess up for them to say you're out.
Yeah, definitely.
Which sort of allows people to do more wrong or to just be like, whatever, I'm not really going to get in trouble.
Well, for the people that want to not follow the rules and be respectful and stuff, that's the people that probably don't move up the chain either. I'm not saying to kiss ass. I'm saying that
I know
there's a reason for the chain of command, and there's also a reason for respectfully telling people the way you see things. But
I'm just saying
there's always two sides to that. It's
easier to be a bad employee, though.
Yeah.
Like that same person, if they were in a civilian job, they may not do certain things because they're going to get fired.
Yeah. The reason I like the military so much was because of the discipline and knowing that you had that. Being raised in that gave me a lot of discipline. But knowing that you had the uniform code of military justice, and you've got to follow your orders and all that kind of stuff. It made you a more respectful and disciplined person because there's a code, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
In civilian life, a lot of people think to themselves, well, I don't care, fire me, I'll just go find another job. In other words, they never want to learn discipline. They just, I'll do whatever I want to.
that's true. When you look at it that way, it's probably the opposite of what I'm saying, that you're less likely to be disrespectful in the military than you may be in a regular job.
Right.
But I guess
On the same hand, in the military, that we always took care of each other also. We're like a big family. It was, let's take care of each other.
it always felt that way.
For the most part, because of the way you got to look at it also. I mean, you're in the military, you're training to defend your country, so you want to have each other's back because you never know where you're going to be. And that was one of the main themes of the military is if you're on the front line, I want to be able to trust you that you're going to take care of me and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something you don't have to think about in every job. Not a regular job.
People say, well, you were in the military and you never went to war or something like that. And you just look at them and say, well, so what? But I was always, it was my job, so I was always there and ready because any time I could be called to do that. It was just my fate that I actually never went to the desert or any of that kind of stuff. But I always supported it.
Did that scare you, though?
Well, of course, you're always wondering. I mean, the one time that I went to Rwanda, or was supposed to go to Rwanda, Africa.
Was that when you were supposed to be gone for
mission.
6 months?
Yeah, 4 months.
Oh, 4 months.
Of course, we never ended up doing it. But yeah, that kind of stuff, you have to do it, but it's just part of the job. That situation for me, though, was a 5-star hotel for 2 weeks. I said, okay.
And then come home.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad deal.
Well, and all the people that outranked me that were back at home station that said, oh, you're the youngest one. You're going to go. I came back and said, thank you for sending me. We had a good time, by the way.
How old were you then? I guess you were in, what, your 30s?
That was
Like 94?
1990.
5?
No, it was 97, 98. It was at Dover.
Couldn't have been 98, though. We were already in Oklahoma.
Oh, no, 96.
Okay.
Yeah, 96 I think it was. Because we were at Dover.
Man, you were in your mid-30s.
Yep.
It's weird to think about now because I'm 33.
Time flies, Jay.
I know.
It just seems like yesterday.
I know. I remember it pretty well. I remember you coming home earlier. Wait, did we surprise you or you surprised us? Right? From that trip?
I surprised you guys. I think your mom did.
Yeah, because we thought you were going to be gone. We were prepared for you to be gone for a while, and then I think she probably told us we were going to the airport for something else. And
yeah. What are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that pretty well. It does feel like it just happened.
Well, it was a good trip because we were flying on that C-5, and I don't know, about 6 hours into the trip or 8 hours into the trip, the commander of the flight called and said, well, State Department said we haven't got authorized to go into, it was Kigali, Africa. We're supposed to go there and stay in a warehouse on cots for that whole time. They said, we haven't got clearance. So they diverted us to Mombasa, Kenya. And we stayed there for a week. All we did was go and check the oil on the C5s, and then we were staying in a 5-star hotel there in Mombasa, Kenya.
Well, geez, I could take that job.
Yeah, right on the beach. I mean, it was nice.
Man.
And from there, we ended up leaving. They said, well, we're not going to go in at all. So we ended up going from there to, I think it was Morone, Spain. I think we went there and stayed one night or refueled. And then from there we went to Rhine, Maine, and stayed in Germany for another couple of days and came home.
Did you come back on the C5?
Was it C5? Yeah, it was a C5. Yep.
That's not comfortable, is it?
Not really.
For like overseas?
They put airline seats in them. They have the regular seats. Delta Airlines ain't very comfortable either, so I would probably compare it. It's probably the same
That's
thing.
true. But airlines, haven't they gotten less comfortable over time because they got to cram people in there?
Yep. And their seats aren't real cushiony either. You sit there for 8-10 hours, it gets pretty hard.
Well, they might have been in the beginning, but when you have, millions of people sitting on it constantly,
yeah,
and they're not going to switch those out.
Turned into a board.
Yeah. I like flying, but it'd be nice if, could just always be business class.
Yeah.
You had that privilege for a while.
I did, and I'll tell you, it's definitely comfortable, but it's not worth the money they want to charge for it. I don't care what anybody says, unless you're also rich.
You didn't, but you never had to pay for it, right? Like you got yours from
No.
points from flying back and forth to the Philippines?
Yeah, I got it from basically, also civil service and military, the TDYs and stuff. That helped a lot. Actually, that's where I got most of my points, was from traveling stateside.
But then you added a bunch on it when you took a longer trip, right?
Right, exactly.
Because I'm sure that's a lot of points at once.
Well, I got up to platinum status at one point, and platinum, of course, most stateside flights, you got upgraded to first class, and a lot of the times you'd be on a waiting list for overseas, and I got upgraded a few times there too.
Now look at you. You're just a lowly regular.
Exactly.
Just a regular old person.
Yeah.
You must be so embarrassed when you go to the airport.
Yeah. Delta Airlines also has made it a lot harder to get that status.
Well, you got to fly more?
You got to fly more. You got to spend more. You got to spend more money to get up to the next level.
Do you ever turn to other people in line and say, I used to be platinum?
No.
Just so you're aware, like I used to be something. I was someone here.
You look at somebody that gets upgraded, and they turn around and look at you, and I go, yeah, I know, I've been there.
Yeah.
So I was there before you were.
I was you, buddy. I was you.
Yeah, get out of my face.
It won't last.
It's going to end. You're going to feel just like me.
You just turn into the grumpy old traveler, just letting everyone know, you like it now, but trust me.
Yeah, but just going to tell you, it's not a good feeling.
It's all downhill from here.
Enjoy it while you got it.
Have you seen the aliens lately?
Aliens where?
I don't know. When I think of aliens, I think of you because you've been into them. I don't know recently, but just those alien conspiracy theories.
On TV?
Oh yeah. Have you seen the aliens in person or on TV?
No, I still watch that kind of stuff. Hey, let me tell you, there's definitely some weird things going on.
Well,
Do I know what it is? I have no idea.
They just had a documentary out about I can't remember his name. It's Bob something.
Bob Lazar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you watch that one?
Bob, yeah, I watch that, and let me tell you, he's one of the people that puts a lot of credibility to what they're talking about, especially the fact that he was an engineer. He was an aerospace engineer, and he did work in that area.
It is interesting.
Yep, and he's one of those ones that, not the first time he's been on, but they've evaluated him, and every time he's talked, it's never been a different story. It's always been the same exact what he said is what happened.
Yeah,
He never changed his story.
But it's the part that sucks about it is you're still left wondering though, because it's not like he can give you any real evidence or pictures or you sort of just gotta accept his story. So it's like with like murder mystery documentary type things, where at the end they go, well, we still don't know who did it, and you're like, great.
Well, there's one thing about his story that makes me think also. Do I think his story is credible? Absolutely, I do. And there's one thing that he says, and it was way back, when he first came out with this, and he was talking about what makes these flying saucers operate. The one thing that we can't duplicate here on Earth that makes these flying saucers operate is element 15 or something like that, and it's an element that we didn't have on our scales. Our what is it? The
Like periodic table.
Periodic table or scales, right? But now, actually, I think he had a sample of this or something. But anyway, in the FBI, government, or all these other agencies were trying to catch him with it. But now, guess what? It's on the periodic table now. They have that element 15 on there now. So that tells you something.
Yeah, I wish somebody would just come out and, like a president or somebody who knows would just come out and be like, yeah, it's true. We just thought you should know now.
Well, you can look at it another way too, or you can just think about this. President Trump, the one that's out there now, and everything he's trying to do is, change things, and what he said he's going to do, he's doing. And why do we have a Space Force now?
I don't know. It's a goofy name, though.
Yeah, but some of the conspiracy theorists on this also is, why do we have a Space Force? And I think the thing is, some people will tell you that because we already do have a Space Force. Now they're just coming out and they're going to name it and make it visible to everybody. But a lot of people will tell you they think that we've been traveling the universe for many, many years, which, in my opinion, I agree. Behind the scenes, I think we have been.
I feel like that'd just be too hard to keep a secret, though.
Yeah, but think about it, Jay. 1960? The first time the man went to the moon.
1969, wasn't it?
Yeah, but all the technology we have right now, cell phones and all that kind of stuff, and to say since we went there way back then, how many years ago? That's almost 60 years. 50-some years ago.
Yeah.
And back then we also had the SR-71, aircraft that would basically skim the top of the Earth, all the way to the bottom of the universe.
Well, I'd like to hear a debate between the people who think we never went to the moon and the people who think we're traveling through the universe.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting debate.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get on that.
Thing.
Huh?
I guarantee, you doubt my mind, I think in my lifetime and in your lifetime we're going to see it. We're not the only ones out there.
Yeah, I don't think we're the only ones out there. It's too, I mean, the universe is too big.
It is too big. And the bottom line is there is a God. And we can go into talking about God because he's real. And if you look in the Bible, you'll see these unidentified objects in certain places in the Bible. And they talk about people coming from the sky. So these unidentified objects you're seeing now, all that stuff, all ties into that. Jesus and the fact that he was resurrected, that's all something that really happened. And if I want to try to tie all this together, I don't know how to say it, but there's definitely something to all this, and God's the major part of it.
Yeah, that's where I always land. It's hard to imagine that there's not something greater going on. But do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's there's a God as it is in the Bible, or that it could be something different, or maybe it depends on where you're at, or if there's like alternate universes, or do you think it's just there is one and that is how it is?
That's the part that I struggle with. you can call me a Bible thumper or whatever you want to call it, and probably I've always believed in God, but in of course, 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't have seen that in me, but since I've studied it and, read the Bible and going to church now, Jesus died on the cross for everybody's sins, and that's all in the Bible. And everything that Jesus said, it's backed up with the people in the Bible, talking about their version of what was seen, the resurrection and all that stuff. So to see that in the Bible and not believe it, I just don't see how people can not believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing that you're, like you said, studying it, and I think everyone is searching for something, aren't they? Even if they land in a different spot, like everyone's just trying to figure out what it all means anyway.
Well, that's the thing, and the Bible will tell you, the main key ingredient in the Bible and from Jesus is one big thing, and that's love. Everybody love each other. Everybody respect each other. Everybody do the right things for people.
Although that'll never happen.
And I'm trying to tie this to what I'm trying to think of here. They say there's somebody or something that is watching over us, which is God. But
Yeah.
They say the earth actually, if you look out in the universe, and there's unexplained things about how we can actually, I'm not a scientist, but even scientists will say, how this is actually happening. What's the protection that's around the earth from all these elements in the universe? And some of it's unexplained as to, how these forces are actually protecting our ozone and all this stuff. So that's another weird thing. Is it aliens out there? Are these aliens actually angels? Is it God's people out there? I don't know, but that's what I tend to believe now, that there's a big force out there which controls everything. Because if you think about it, we're just a little piece of this puzzle. We're just a little tiny piece of sand. The Earth is a small planet.
Yeah, we're insignificant.
There's other planets out there that completely make our planet just a plain dwarf.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that, like, when I start thinking like that about how big the universe is and how many unanswered questions there are, I think I end up having to step away from it for a little bit, just because it can get overwhelming. Because there's so many things that you won't have answered. It can be fun to talk about, but you won't really have the answer till you die, or until something crazy happens and it's all revealed.
Right. Yeah, there's people that have their stories too. After death experiences, then coming back to life. And gosh, I saw something on TV the other day. I don't know if it was the news but this little young boy, they had to revive him because he stopped breathing, and when he was out, I don't think he ever knew his grandfather or somebody that he never ever knew, but he was calling this person's name while he was unconscious. Now think about that. Somebody he never knew, but he was calling this person's name. It was grandpa or something. So how do you explain that?
I can't, and that's what makes me so frustrated.
And they say that, after life, if you're a believer, that you're going to go to, Jesus has prepared a place for us in heaven. And where is that heaven? You're talking about, is there another dimension? Is there a place he's prepared like that? I mean, you have to believe in the Bible, you have to have faith in God, and that's what's going to happen. So I'm a believer. I mean, I'm there because something big is going on. We just don't, none of us know. So I just say I believe in God.
Yeah, I think that's why faith is hard, because you don't see, you can't see it.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
You're just trying to Well, you're really just trying to hope for the best, right? That's what
Yeah.
you're just putting your faith in
Yeah.
something good and hoping that it works out.
I'll tell you this much. Since I've become a believer in Jesus being my Savior, better things have happened to me. I feel like I'm a lot more kind to people, and the more kindness that I show people and do things, the better I feel, the less frustrated I am. I'd rather take a situation now instead of having to be the person to be correct. In other words, argue with that person. Like I told you, give them a reason, or even if they're mean to me, be nice to them anyway. Accept it, you know. And that's in the Bible too. Jesus always said that you should, if somebody's asking for something and they come back and ask again, just keep giving it to them. Keep giving it to them.
Extreme kindness.
Yeah, because the point is, you can't go wrong by being kind to people. Even if that person is going to continue to be mean, you're never going to be wrong.
That's true. I mean, if their intentions can be bad, but if yours are good, then it's like there's nothing to think about. It's
Right.
simple.
And it's contagious because that person also will question, wow, I'm being so mean to this person, but this person's still being kind to me. And they start thinking also that can actually change a person in the way they view things as well. So,
Oh yeah, I believe that. Because when someone's mean, a lot of times they want a reaction too. They want a reaction out of you, and if you don't give that to them, then they start thinking about things.
they're looking for a reaction, absolutely.
They want you to meet them at that level.
Yeah,
And if you don't, it's confusing.
that's right. And it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable what a big smile, a sincere smile will do for another person that's not in such a good mood or angry or something like that, and just pop a joke or whatever. How it can change that person's day in an instant. So,
You're not walking around telling dad jokes all the time, are you?
well, sometimes I do, though.
All right.
usually the same thing. Oh, here's another one.
I'm all for it, actually. There's a guy at work who's like, he's got 3 kids, and he's the guy that has the dad jokes, and everyone loves him. And he does. It brightens people's days.
It does, and they some might be kind of corny, but a lot of them are pretty good actually.
Well, you're biased because you
Yeah.
you like him because you're saying them.
Yeah, I think them up as they go along.
Well, maybe you should start doing some stand-up there. Stand-up comedy.
I should, because sometimes I'll see these ones that I know that I never saw before and I made up, and then I'll see, oh, that guy's, I did that one. That was mine.
Do you have one in your head right now that you've been wanting to get out?
Oh gosh, I can't never pop one when I just sitting here.
You need me to like set you up? You need it's got to be like a comedy team.
Yeah, I gotta have some kind of something said to me before I can say one.
All right. Well, I'll be thinking about that, and I'm gonna hit you with it when you least expect it at some point. I'm gonna set you up real nice for you can just like land one of your best jokes.
One of my best.
Well, I should probably get off of here.
What are you gonna do? You gonna go out now and eat or something? What is it? 12:30 there. 12:20.
Yeah, I gotta finish a little bit of work and then go to bed. And I think I'm going into work early, so it's gonna be a long week, but
Well,
a good one.
we should do more of these calls and talks and analyzing and theorizing.
And what? Theorize them?
Theorizing, yeah.
Well, maybe I'll try to make this a regular thing. It's like it's good on a couple levels. I get to have a recorded conversation with you that will be more important to me as time goes on.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I want to do these things, because they may not, I mean, they are important now and I enjoy it, but I always think like 20 years from now what that'll mean.
Yeah.
Just
you can label your USB stick Crazy Dad. Crazy Dad talk.
If that's what you want.
No, I want whatever you want.
No, I label it like date and sort of the subject, and then it's all filed away. But I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to listen back to conversations. You know,
Yeah.
because they're not conversations you get to have every day. So I think it's good.
Well, if you get a chance sometimes, sit down and read the Bible.
All right, I have a few of them.
You know, you can put it around your cell phone. You know,
That's true. There is the app.
the Bible. Yeah. But it'll open your eyes. And this is one last thing. If you really look at events going on in this world right now, there is a religious war going on. It's happening.
You think so?
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, I definitely think so. God's involved.
Well, I don't know much about it, so there's not much I can say, but all I can do is listen. But I can I can do some reading.
Well, do what you always do. Always keep an open mind. Don't ever close your mind like a lot of people do. That there's no way possible of this. There's no way possible of that. Well, don't ever say never, because you don't know.
No, if I catch myself in that, I'm able to get out of it pretty quickly, because I know there's just so much I don't know, and sometimes I'm just wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we got a vast universe out there, and there's a lot of things going on. Definitely a lot of things going on.
I know it's a weird world.
Yep.
But it's interesting. It's never
Very
not
interesting. Yep. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Jay.
Bye.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye. Well, I'm glad I got to have him on the show. It is fun talking to my dad. I wish I could talk to him more, but I think this is, like I've said before, this is another reason for me to do this, because I also think I'm not very good at keeping in touch with people. And knowing that I'm going to have a conversation with somebody each week, it's a good way to get me thinking about the people that I should be talking to. So I'm really glad that I got to do this, and I'm sure I will have him on again sometime soon. Maybe I will make it weekly. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a weekly alien podcast with him, because he's got interesting thoughts on the subject, and I could probably just sit there and listen to him talk about it for 40 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour and a half. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's it for now. If you like this episode, please let me know. If you hated this episode, please let me know. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, please let me know. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.